blastmusic247.com. We're changing the industry, one artist at a time.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to another episode. I think this is episode 16 of the Say Less podcast with Miko. I hope your day is going well. I am going to jump right in this because I know this here show is going to be real juicy. So I'm not going to even do all the shenanigans that I start with. We're going to skip it. Okay. So we're going to start with our motivational quote. I chose something that is based off of the topic today. So that quote is this: you can carry this throughout life until you do what you're supposed to do. Okay. So this is: planning today is the greatest gift you can learn or you can leave tomorrow. Hold on. I got my glasses on. Still can't see. Hold on. All right. Planning today is the greatest gift you can leave tomorrow. A will or trust isn't just paperwork. It's peace of mind, protection, and a legacy for those that you love. Okay, that is the quote. It should always be the quote until you get it right. Okay, so take that with you. And I'm going to, of course, nothing spectacular today for me. It's hot here in Texas. Okay, it's hotter than hot. It's one of those hots that you just want to be right with the Lord because you don't want to go the other direction because you already know what it's gonna feel like. Okay. It is hot, like to the point you walk out and you just want to just pass out. So it's really not a time for spirits. And even though I had a light day, I'm, of course, starting out with my communion. Glass of communion today. No spirits. Of course, it's my lolly, the brand I'm stuck with now. So that's my beverage of choice. So also, to the shorts from last week's show, Friendships Part 2. I have not posted those, but I will post those in the Say Less Facebook page so you guys can see a snippet of what last week's show was. It was pretty good. So anyway, today's show, we have an amazing special guest. She is, the little amount of time I've spent with her on the phone thus far is absolutely just golden. Okay, so she's going to share some of that with us today, and I'm going to allow her to introduce herself.
Hey, I am Nichon Mitchell. I'm an attorney. I've been an attorney for 25 years. I am one of those people who went to law school to help people. And in doing so, I've done a lot of things in my career. Like I've been a prosecutor. I've been an administrative judge doing things like child support hearings. I've been an assistant attorney general, and I've had a private practice too. My latest passion, though, is helping people get their affairs in order, not just to pass on things properly, but to start creating legacies, building generational wealth, and things like that. So there's been a lot of talk lately about generational wealth, and it's always tied to making money. But the real way to do it is to pass it on correctly. Because if you make the money, but you don't pass it on to the next generation and it gets lost in your generation, then that's not building generational wealth. So there's so many people I've run across in my career that, of course, don't have wills, don't have trust. They don't have anything, not a power of attorney, not a healthcare power of attorney. It's created so many issues. So my new passion is helping everyone get started, no matter how small, no matter how big. We're going to get started and getting our paperwork in order.
Yes, and because I'm forever telling folks that, and I need to get my sugar honey iced tea together. Okay, so that is very important. I know that it's so funny because I was in the office for a little while today, and I was speaking with my manager, and he told me about, they just did that with all of their assets or whatever. And he was laughing because he was just like, yeah, $4,000 later, but they have a hefty amount of assets, right? So it made sense. But they had it. There's many options, as from my understanding, that you can kind of set things up. I guess he did like buckets of if this incident happened, we'll do it this way, we'll do it that way. And I just feel like it is just super duper duper important, because even in my own family, I don't know what it is about when people die. Everybody want to fight over money and what they want and who deserves what.
But sometimes it's not even over money. There's legit a case about a rolling pin, a baking rolling pin that a family was fighting over, but it had meaning in the family. And so sometimes it's the smallest things, but we can prevent all of that by making plans, like your motivational quote said, and getting things done. So I just wanted to talk today, and I love it that you have a casual atmosphere where people don't have to feel like this is formal. Yes, I'm an attorney, but people out there who know me will tell you I'm like, I'm like serious when it comes to the business, but I'm like funny too, So I like it that it's casual. We can all just have a conversation. If I think people are able to send in questions, you guys have questions, I'll take them live as they come in, or however you want to do that. But if you want me to, I can go ahead and get going on some of the most popular questions that people ask.
Is that Jerome?
Oh, Gerald. Oh, yes. You grew up with him. Okay, yay.
Yeah, she's golden. Yeah.
Okay, all right, so this is what it is. I'm going to start with two interesting facts, but stay tuned because I'm going to answer the most popular question people ask me, which is, do you have to have a lot of assets or money in order to have a trust? So I'm going to answer that. But so when I said this is my passion, what it is I'm really interested in helping minority and underserved communities to get their paperwork in order. That is the Black community, our brown communities, the LGBTQ communities. That's our immigrant friends. That's who most pressingly needs these documents. So one interesting fact is, since emancipation, the Black community has lost between 11 and 14 million acres of land. That is wealth that is gone that we will not get back. That's wealth that's gone that we could have been building on since emancipation. And imagine where all those families would have been had they been able to hold on to that land. Because after emancipation, thousands, tens of thousands of Black families, they were awarded land and homesteads of up to 160 acres, which we had but lost due to either taxes not being paid. But the more common reason was because we didn't have wills or trust or documents or even basic things like identification for who we were in order to prove it was our land, and it was taken from the family. So we are continuing to lose land that really should remain in our families. The same thing has happened for all other kind of predatory reasons to all of our minority communities. So the best way to shore that up is to have the documents that you need. When I say documents, let me clarify. You need a healthcare power of attorney. You need a durable power of attorney or a limited power of attorney. You need either a will or a trust. Those are the basic documents we should start with in order to have our affairs in order. The difference between the will and the trust is whether your family will have to probate or not. A will is better than nothing, but a trust is better than all of them. So very quickly, like in California today, I looked the numbers up. There's almost 45,000 pending probate cases in California. California, on average, takes 12 to 18 months to probate, but it could be much longer, like years. I'm going to tell you that story in a minute. In Florida, there's 72,000 cases pending, and it can take about 18 months. But in places like Tennessee, there's only 15,000 cases pending. It can take 4 to 12 months. But you don't want your family to be one of those pending cases. They're already grieving. Your loss will, hit them all in different ways, and you don't want them to have to deal with this court process. So today, this discussion, who needs this discussion today? If you are single and you have no children, you need some documents. Okay. Especially something about, especially if you're single, you have no children, you're an adult, but your parents are divorced. There's going to be a fight over who can make medical decisions for you. There's going to be, that's going to cause a problem. Okay.
Yeah.
If you're single and you have children, whether or not you think you know who you want the guardian to be, you need some paperwork. Who's going to care for your children if something happens to you? I've already said my immigrant friends, and especially those from immediate immigrant families, like your generation or the generation before you, that's very important. My friends in the LGBTQ community, especially if you're married in a same-sex marriage, we don't know, quite frankly, and we won't steer all the way into politics, but we don't know what this administration is going to do. We don't know what executive order is going to be signed. We don't know if he intends on invalidating those marriages or whatever. So we need protection for that. So, okay, married couples with minor children. There was just a story in Dallas where an entire family died in a car accident when they were hit by a semi. The driver fell asleep.
The family of 5?
Yes. Now, that daughter happened to be 20 years old or so. The only survivor in the family was a daughter that was 20 years old. So she's not a minor, but she did lose her entire family. And there are stories of entire families dying in an accident, and then an 8-year-old is left. So if you're a married couple and you have minor children, you want some say in who's going to care for your children and what you want done for them as they grow up if you're not around. So I said, who needs this discussion? I just named those groups of people, but really we all need this discussion.
Yes, we do.
Everyone is going to die. It's hard to think about, and it's not fun to think about, but it's worse thinking about what you leave behind if you don't take care of business. So, prime example, I always like to use myself. That way people know I'm not special. I'm not exempt because I'm an attorney. I'm not living some special life out here. We all got drama. Okay. My dad, Christmas Eve 2022, he passed away. He had gone to a party in Las Vegas with some friends. Someone at the party had pneumonia, was on the back end of having pneumonia. She thought she was better, but she wasn't. He went to that party. 2 people at the party got sick. He was one of them, and he died. Did he go to Las Vegas expecting to die? He lived in California. No, he did not, but he did. Now, sometimes people look at me crazy when I say this, but I'm going to say this. If I could dig him up and smack him, I would. Because he left
I told my dad what you said, too, when you told me that.
Right. He left me and my siblings a mess. I have an older brother. I'm number 2. I have a younger brother and have a younger sister. And so he left us a mess. Now imagine I'm an attorney and I'm saying he left us a mess in California. So we had to file. He had no will. He had nothing. Even though for years I was like, Daddy, please do this. He wouldn't do it. Okay. So we had to open up an estate. We've had to do an accounting. We've had to take an inventory. We've had to file documents. It's been so much we had to do. And imagine what my brothers or what this family would have went through if I wasn't already an attorney, right? So I had firsthand experience. So my dad died December 24th, 2022, and we are still in probate. It is August 19th, 2025. We are still in probate in California. And so it can be a mess, and it doesn't have to be. And we have some people in our community, some older ones who don't want to do this, but we're going to have to figure it out. We're going to have to sit down with them and figure it out. And we're going to figure it out in our own households, how to get these documents done, because it's important. All right. So a trust. Let me tell you about a will. So real quick, a will, you can either have an attorney draft a will. You can actually handwrite a will in a lot of states. That's what's called a holographic will. You can handwrite a will. Now, I just say it's something that's better than nothing. We're going to start somewhere. Ideally, you will have something better than that. But I want people to have something. You can handwrite a will. In some states, that's called a holographic will. Yes. Okay. So with a trust, so the will is a piece of paper and it says what you want. A trust is it's a vehicle. It's a device. It is, a trust can have its own tax ID. it can take on almost a whole life of its own. You want something more powerful like that. So I'm expressing that to say this. Oh, let me answer the question. Who needs one? Okay. It doesn't matter if you got $3 in your pocket and the contents in your house. You can have a trust. There's no minimum amount of money. There's no maximum amount of money. The real value of the trust is your family won't have to probate. They won't have to go to court. Once you pass, everything is automatically done. The title to the cars go to where you said. The house goes to where you said. The trustee is going to make sure that everything you said gets done. As opposed to like the situation with my dad, we had to go to court. And then we had to name my older brother as the person in charge and personal representative. Side note, is there any little sisters out here and y'all got big brothers that always trying to be the boss of you? I won't tell my big brother if he on here, you're not the boss of me. But I'm going to tell my little brother on here, I'm the boss of you. So anyway.
When we lost our mom unexpectedly, my brother just took over everything.
Right.
Everything.
That's what they do. These big brothers is something else. But I have the best big brother in the world. So shout out to my big brother, Steve Watts. Shout out to my little brother, Randall Watts. Shout out to my little sister, Sky Watts. Okay, so shout out to the Watts clan. We out there. Okay, so he got so he had to be put in charge. So we had to do that. And then the court wants to know, well, what's everything your father has? We had to do a whole inventory of everything he had.
Yeah.
We have to report to the court. You have to tell them everything you're doing. The court wants to approve that stuff. If they don't like how you're handling it, they could put a perfect stranger over that estate to manage it. And that perfect stranger might take 5% of the value of the estate in order for the pleasure of taking your property and being over it. So
now, I don't mean to cut you off, but that's something that my manager did say today, that they ended up having to appoint attorneys for the kids.
Right. Yes.
The judge appointed attorneys for the children, and
yes.
and whoever they appointed, they were the ones to set the trust up. I'm like, well, how can they do that?
Yeah. If the court feels like whoever is standing there in front of them is not going to adequately represent whatever best interest the court is concerned about, they will appoint people and put them over your father's estate, your child's estate that died, your husband's estate. Sometimes, they will put someone over it. So this is why we need to make decisions while we're here for what we want to happen, so that some random person who's on the bench is not making these decisions for you. And a lot of times, even if you hire an attorney, we don't have a lot of control over what the judge will decide. Right. And like I said, my individual family has just been very fortunate that I've been able to do it, and we've been able to steer it in a certain way. The other thing that I'm fortunate about is none of the siblings are fighting.
Beautiful.
There's no argument, and everyone is yielding to the big brother and what he's saying. And there's no reason to fight about it. Like, let's just get it handled and get it done. But the fighting is a huge obstacle, and I would encourage people to, as much as you can, get along through this process. That's enough. If the court sees fighting, or if the court sees 3 different people show up, especially if it's 6 siblings, you all have the same parents, but 3 different people are fighting about who should be in control. The judge is gonna be like, I'm gonna put the deputy clerk over your parents' estate or something like that. So fighting,
we see division.
Yes, the division will trigger that. So that's something to think about. So the value of the trust is none of that happens. A trustee is over the estate, and then the trustee goes into action and does everything that the trust instructs them to do. So I have a trust. And another thing for this fact pattern is, we talk, like, a lot of people know I just got married last year. I was married before. My first marriage was a long-term, it was a 16-year marriage. My husband was married before. He was married for 19 years. So we had long first marriages, and we have children. So when we came together and we talked, it's like, okay, hey, what would you like to leave to your children? This is what I want to leave to my children. What do you want to do with this? What do I want to do? And it all got put together in a document. And then I have a trustee. So if he passes and I'm here, I'm still the trustee. and vice versa. If I pass, he's here, he's still a trustee. But if we pass at the same time, like on one of these wonderful adventures we go on when we go to Mexico or all these places we go to, I have appointed alternate trustees. And I have 2 girlfriends, they both attorneys, and I have them operating in different capacities because I want them to do different things. So I have one who's kind of in control. So look, can you tell? You see this spread? I don't know if y'all saw that, but like, so I'm a member of the best sorority on this side of heaven. That's what that is, Sorority Incorporated. Okay, everybody out there take note. So anyway, I have a really good friend.
Wait, I didn't get the opportunity to even touch college being a 16-year-old pregnant girl kicked out of high school. But you guys are red, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So I have a part of my trust that says, okay, Nicole is a trustee with anything Delta Sigma Theta sorority related, because y'all not getting ready to go to Goodwill and see my Delta Sigma Theta shirts hanging up in the Goodwill. Right. Because my family doesn't know what to do with them. You know, some of these, but these are really important things. We have, rituals and different things that we have that we're charged with. And that stuff is sacred and secret and confidential. And so she's going to come in and take possession of all that and make sure it makes it to the national president. To the local chapter president. So she'll come and she'll keep what she wants. I know Nicole Smith. Won't keep what you want, but she's gonna make sure that stuff is protected and it goes to the chapter president of a local Dallas chapter, or dispose of it in a way that's proper so that it doesn't get out there. But I have another trustee. Now she's over the most of the entirety of the trust because she don't play. So I picked somebody who I know don't play, because she's going to follow it to the letter. She's going to distribute it the way it says it should be distributed. And if anything goes on outside that, if anybody acting up, she's going to give them that eye she got. Yeah, Martina Smith got an eye she'll give you. And she'll look at you and you're going to go sit down somewhere. So we want to put somebody in charge who we know will carry it out. But once again, you can have a few little things. You can have a lot of things. There's no minimum, there's no maximum. The point is, whatever you do have, especially if you have items that are of sentimental value to people, you would be surprised of what's of sentimental value to people. You may want to engage people in discussions and say, what is it that I have that you would like? So you would know, and you can make those kind of provisions.
Yeah.
So yes. And then one quick thing I'm going to touch on, and then you can see if you have questions coming through on the thing is, there are online drafting services. You can get on these online platforms and you can get a will for $199 or something like that, right?
Or POA, because the funny thing is, I actually just drafted up a medical POA for me and my husband on some site. I mean, it's drafted, but I didn't pay for it, but I just did that.
So those have a purpose, and the POA is like a little bit better to use those sites for. When you talk about especially a trust,
yes.
Because like you said in the beginning, they can be very specific and directed to your situation. When you use those sites, they don't really tailor things to your specific situation. You can't, I don't want to say you can't call and talk to them. You can, but there's going to be an extra fee. There's going to be an extra cost. But when you have an attorney that will draft it for you, like when I do it for my clients, I'm your personal family attorney for as long as you want me to be your attorney. So every 3 years, we'll have a meeting and make sure your document is still updated. But in the first year, if you need updates, I do those for free. That's part of the initial cost. And sometimes in the first year, people forget or they acquire new things and they need to add it to the trust. We need to update the trust. Okay. But these sites are not notifying you if the law changes. They're not keeping up with your family situation to know that, hey, you told me your daughter had a baby, but your trust didn't, it excluded grandchildren or any, something like that. Like, hey, we need to update it. So no one is looking out for any updates that's necessary. No one is updating you on whether, the law is changed. And you have an increased risk of errors and omissions in those documents because they're not tailoring it to you. Yeah. So I would just say it is, especially when it comes to a trust, a lot of you get what you pay for because you're not getting that specialized service. So
That's why I didn't press go. I didn't go to go.
I just wanted to address that really quickly.
Yeah.
And yes, I'm sorry about my lighting, y'all. The sun sets in the front of my house in the evening, so the sun is coming through my window.
It's just a ray of sunshine. It's a ray of sunshine. And I, as I typically do for my people that watch me and follow me, if you hear tap dancing, that's my grand dog. Okay. Claxton Taylor. That's tap dancing all around here underneath my feet because she's loud. So, okay. So I did have a few questions that came in, but you've already answered them.
Oh.
Then I, of course, you know me, I'm just like that research.
Mm-hmm.
I told you I want to be an underwriter. I like to dig. So let's see. I know in 5 minutes we're going to break and have VP introduce the artist.
Okay.
But I think we can knock this out before then. Mm-hmm. So what are the most common mistakes people make when writing a will?
I think they underestimate the things that they have that are maybe sentimental to someone else, but to them kind of has no meaning. They underestimate. They don't think to plan for things that could happen in the future. They don't look far enough ahead, in which a lot of times attorneys will, because even if it's not just estate planning, but we've just seen so much, you know, like divorces and personal injury case, wrongful death cases. Just like you see a lot of experiences like, look, at this point, I know anything can happen. Did you think about this? Did you think about this? If you're sitting, because I said earlier, you could do a holographic will and write it out yourself. You can, but if you're sitting by yourself, all you have as counsel is yourself. You're not talking it out with anybody or asking. And then so, you know, an attorney, or even if you bounce it off a friend or something and say, well, girl, did you think about this? Did you think about that? And they're not, people think, oh, that'll never happen, or this will never happen. And anyone who knows attorneys know we plan for anything that could possibly happen. That's why the document is so long. On average, the trusts that I draft are about 54 to 60 pages long. They're going to cover almost just about anything that can happen. So I think those are some of the bigger mistakes that people make.
Yeah. And you know, it sometimes you just, well, I know for me, I'm a realist, especially after losing my mom. You know, I lost her to the hands of a man, and you know, that was just not what we were thinking, you know. Right. But you know, so I'm a realist when it comes to death. But sometimes you just got to sit down and be real and thoroughly think about the things that you do have. Because sometimes I'll say, we have our house, you know, car, whatever. I've been out the corporate world for 3 years now. So as far as like, you know, 401k and pension and all that, I'm an entrepreneur Black lady now. Yeah. But it's the little things, like you say, it's the little things. Like you think about something that your sister or brother might want, you know, or I mean, like I'm a sneakerhead. You're a realtor in sneakers. Yeah. So I'm a sneakerhead. So it's like, who gonna get my sneakers? Like, you know what I mean? You really have to sit down and think. And I had said that too, because for whatever reason, it's a lot of fires going on. And I've never known people, the lightning to strike and kill people the way it's been doing lately. Oh. Like it was a house in Plano that got struck by lightning. It was like 2 houses got struck by lightning.
Strange things.
And you never know. So I told myself, I said, you know what? I need to sit down and literally take pictures of everything in my home. Because God forbid we lose our home in a fire. You're trying to wrap your brains around, what did I have? Where was this? Where was that? You know what I mean? So it's a lot of work. I think that's what deters people. It's a lot of work because you got to think.
But that's what you have the attorney for, to help you with that lot of work and simplify it, to, you know, kind of say, it's okay. That's what I'm here for. I'm going to help you through it. I do that with clients all the time. I mean, like I said, look, I done murder cases and, you know, everything in between, like, right. So it's like, I'm really good at keeping people calm. I'm really good at giving guidance. I'm really good at explaining things to people. And a lot of times it seems like a lot, but if we just break it down and we just get it done, and then you're going to look up and you're like, wow, I got a healthcare power of attorney. I got a durable power of attorney. I got a trust. I have everything I need. And I got somebody who will update it, walk me through it. I can ask my questions to, you know, just in case. So,
yeah. Oh, can you put them in the, sorry, y'all. I forgot I was boiling water for eggs. Just put them in there lightly. Thank you. Sorry. Okay, BP, well, we're ready for you.
All righty, all right. Awesome show. I'm loving it so much. Welcome, everybody. For those who don't know, Blast Music 247 is a part of this podcast tonight. And what we do is we help independent artists gain exposure. So what we do on every single show, every podcast here, we like to highlight a special artist. So tonight, this is an amazing young lady. Her name is Tanika Share. And the name of this song is called Make Room. Let's check it out.
So new, don't wanna jump the gun, but just someone I could know deeper. But only time will tell me if you really are a keeper. But saw me dead in my tracks. Tell me how you would've did that. Now you got me acting brand new. Got me all in my bag, working ain't got nothing on that. But it's the same thing in my heart. Can't wait to see you again. Cause I like having you around, you make me lose my nervous energy, baby. And yes, I'm still a G, I know it might be soon, but I don't mind making room, cause I like having you around. Yeah, I'm at the age right now where I'm pursuing peace. We living in and out, I got that cycle on rinse and repeat. Too many times to try to take me out, but I still gain defeat. Shutting them all down by force like control or delete. I know you see the point that's key. It's me having the option. Letting you in my bubble only means that I've been watching. I take my space as serious. NASA takes its satellites. I'm out this world, not all shit access me because I'm kryptonite to every Superman wanna be. Frontin' in front of me, pretending like they man enough, but got feminine tendencies. I'd rather be home by myself, protecting my energy, waiting for the most out to finally start aligning me with. I don't know, maybe, I mean, you do got a warm, familiar feeling and a dope kindredness too. And if I'm telling the truth, pom-poms, I'm rooting for you. If it's true without the panic, I'm willing to make the room.
Yes, indeed. And that was Tanika Share with Make Room. And if you are an independent artist or a spoken word poet or up and coming comedian that needs some exposure, you can go to blastmusic247.com and register for free. But Blast is also looking for the fans. So if you're a fan of great music, you too can also go to blastmusic247.com, register as an unlimited fan, and get access to hundreds of independent music. Blast, we're constantly changing the industry, one artist at a time. All right, ladies, back to you.
Thanks. I love that artist. She is amazing.
Sounded good.
Yeah. So, okay. So we actually got through that question really quick before the artist was.
Yes.
I guess we probably can say before I move on with a few other things that I had on here, if anybody had any live questions. Oh, there you go.
Yes. Can banking accounts and brokerage accounts be added to a trust? Yes. And I'm glad for that question because I did, and I'll work this into the answers, want to talk about all the different things you can do with a trust. But yes, but I will give everyone this tip. One thing that you can do to help this process is if you have banking accounts, brokerage accounts, life insurance, a 401k, different things like that, add a beneficiary to the account. Because if you do that, it's already automatically going to go directly to them. I had a lady call me and she wanted a trust. And I talked to her about everything she owned, but she was on top of it. She already had titled her car in the kids' names. She had deeded the house to the kids. She had everybody's name on bank accounts. She had taken care of it. I was like, you're great. Really, there's nothing for me to do. I mean, we could get what's called, I could have given her a will for the residual, anything that may have been left over. Say she wins the lottery at the last minute or she gets some last minute property. But if you can put as much stuff as you can already put people's names on, then that item is going to directly go to that person and that takes care of it. So another thing to know is life insurance money that you get and when someone passes, that's free from income taxes. So having adequate life insurance is another way to build wealth and pass it on. So a lot of communities, not mainly the ones I mentioned when we started this podcast,
right,
actually use life insurance as a way to pass wealth on to successive generations. A whole generation will insure themselves and make the generation under them the beneficiaries. And so that life insurance money passes down. They're insured themselves for $500,000 or $1 million, and that passes down. Now, in some communities, you can't get the generation above you to get life insurance. You got to have a fish fry to bury, Auntie Pookie. You got to have a fish fry going because
involve your social media nephews and uncles and aunties and cousins for the GoFundMe.
Right, we're on the GoFundMe. And so that's another way where we're losing out on passing generational wealth. We're missing a whole wonderful vehicle. Side note, people who know me out here will laugh, but I'm going to tell y'all. So I am an attorney, but I'm also a licensed insurance agent. I've been a licensed real estate broker. I have a lot of certifications, and I'm just telling y'all, having a life insurance policy, that is substantial. You can take that life insurance policy actually and make the trust the beneficiary. If you don't trust people to give it directly to them, your children, your grandchildren, whoever, if you don't want to directly give people money, you can fund the trust with the life insurance money and then tell the trust to say, hey, only give this money to children who are direct descendants from me who have finished college. Give them $30,000 on the day they graduate or something like that. What a blessing, right?
Right.
Or only give this money to or you can make a stipulation. You can get money if you graduate from college, if you're buying your first house, when you have your first child, something like that, right?
Yeah, stipulations.
You can definitely direct and what you want done with things, but you can set it up where the money goes into the trust and then the trustee will spend the money out in whatever way you direct. So what you would do, you can actually use the trust to buy these different funds. Just like when we bought this house, we bought it in the name of the trust. Quick note, don't let us forget to talk about asset protection. That's how you use a trust to protect your assets from creditors.
Correct.
Okay, but you got some more questions. Don't let somebody out there hold us accountable. We want to talk about how to protect your assets from creditors.
will intellectual property like book and song rights royalties correct?
Yes. Now, what I would recommend doing though is that little part of it, the book rights and stuff, putting that inside of an LLC or something like that. Layer the protection to it.
Yeah.
I would put it inside the LLC, put the LLC inside the trust. And then you want to make sure, that's another good point. Remember I said I got a Delta trustee and then I got a trustee for some other stuff.
Yeah.
You want to put somebody over that who understands what business you're in.
Right.
You don't want to leave a trustee over that who does not understand what that is. So like my 2 trustees are attorneys, so they will know what to do with my practice. When I pass, they'll be like, okay, well, she's got all these clients. We got to fill them out to somebody. We got to wind her practice down. We got to collect all the money and then distribute it out, right? But if I had like my brother or my husband as the trustee over that part of it, he wouldn't know what to do, with legal clients. He doesn't know what to do with legal clients. So you can have different people over different things. You can tell the trustee, hey, go to this person and give them these instructions, or you can have co-trustees. So that's another thing. But if you have something like book royalties, you have something that's very nuanced and specific, especially if you have a business that requires a license, like an attorney or a CPA or a dentist or a medical practice. You want to put somebody over that part that knows that business.
That understands it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Maintain your trust. Okay, so what attorneys should have is a succession plan for their own business. So if your attorney passes away while they're handling your case, their office should say, hey, we have an attorney that we can send your file to. Please give us permission to do that. They got to ask you first. So you might say, I don't know nothing about that attorney. Don't give me my file. I'm going to find somebody else. And so you get your file with whatever draft was there, kind of whatever they were working on. And then you find another attorney. But know that a new attorney probably won't accept that draft like, hey, this is mostly done. So can you lower your fee because this is done? They're going to want to draft it themselves and do their own due diligence. But they will use that draft as an indication of what you wanted and what you told that other attorney. But attorneys should have a succession plan for their own practice and have another attorney they can pass stuff off to. They would say, okay, this attorney passed away and I'm taking over their caseload, and you'll get a letter, or you may just get a letter. Like if you don't know your attorney passed away, say this attorney passed away and I'm winding down their office. Like I just talked about before about like my trustee winding my office. Yeah. I'm winding down their office. I'm happy to help you if you would like, or I can send you your file.
Okay. And then VP, if there's any more questions, VP wants you and I to read it out loud so others can know what you're answering.
So the question from Alicia about, that's a good question. Suggestions do you offer to begin conversation with the elders? Because that is something I want to talk about. And that's just difficult because you just have some, like my dad, they are
my daddy.
Right. They are just, I mean, you can say, hey, look, the best thing you can do is just give them examples that you heard and say, hey, everyone that I know in my age group, because I know, Alicia, we're in this age group where our elders are passing on. Hey, everyone I know in my age group that has dealt with this has had a really hard time. They've been in probate for years. And I don't think you want to do that to me. I would hope that you wouldn't want to do that to me. So what would make you feel comfortable? What document would make you feel comfortable that we can put in place so that at least I don't have to go to probate? And another issue with older people is they feel like if they have this document or whatever, they'll lose control, like a trust, right? They'll lose control, but they can be the trustee until the time of their death. They can maintain control over their assets, what happens to their assets, what happens with everything. They can maintain control over their own assets until they pass, and then the next trustee will take over. So a lot of times they feel like, well, if I have this trust and I got a trustee, and you're gonna take all my stuff from me. No one's gonna take your 1957.
And
we're not.
And that is so true, because this little scare that my dad just had. Me and he's retired Vietnam. Okay, cuckoo crazy, get the whole 100%. Okay, but he's been saying for years, I got to get you guys on this and that, and your DD-14, and and it's like, Dad, stop playing because you're getting older, and he just had a scare. So, I told him, I said, he's one of those type, I don't want nobody taken. So even with the POA for his bank account, he had went and spoke with someone, And he was like, I need to put you on my bank account. I said, well, Dad, just get a POA. And in the event that you become incompetent or you die, that is the only time that I would have any say-so on your account, right?
Yes.
And it's still one of those, she gonna take money out my account.
A POA ceases to have any effect or authority once the person passes away. That's a big misconception. People call me all the time and say, "But I got a POA." I'm like, "But they died last week, so your POA is not any good."
The bank said that that's what they do.
There's a payable on death person.
Okay.
That's different than a POA.
POD.
Yes, there's a POD that's a payable on death person. And I want to point out that difference too. There's a difference between being a co-owner on an account and being the POD, the payable on death person. Some people get added to a POD on a person's account. I would not do that. And I especially wouldn't do it for an elderly person because the laws about elder abuse are strict and the people that enforce them are very serious. And it could be an innocent mistake or anything like that. And the bank could alert like the Office of Aging or something like that. And all of a sudden you looking at issues with how this elderly person's money is being spent. And so I would not be a co-owner. The other reason to not be a co-owner is if that person has a debt or something like that, and you're the main person putting money in there, then your money is gonna go for their debt. So you can be the payable on death person or beneficiary. Different banks kind of have little wording for it. Some banks will let you can add that on the app, and some banks make you come in. So you just have to check with your bank. But that's two different things. And before I got to be a co-owner on anybody's account, I would think about it very carefully.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. That's good. Let's see if there's anything else. I had something on mine.
And I saw Destiny saying, "Hi, that's not real." Hey, Destiny.
Okay, so let's see. You already spoke on the plan to protect the children and the minors. You already spoke on that. You already spoke on the life insurance.
The credit protection from creditors. Okay. See, y'all, this is real life me remembering stuff.
Now that's the one right there.
Yes. Okay. So this is what it is. When you have a trust, generally for asset protection, okay, there's two different kind of trusts. There's a revocable and an irrevocable. When you have a revocable trust, you can revoke it at any time. You can say, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. This trust is no good. It's no longer of any effect. If you have an irrevocable trust, you can't just end it like that. It's there and it exists. So when you have an irrevocable trust and you have a trustee who is not yourself or a down the line beneficiary as the trustee, that's one way to protect your assets from creditors. Now you can do the same thing with a revocable trust, but it's generally done with the irrevocable trust, because when you don't have control over your own asset, even though it's technically yours, it's not considered yours when you don't have control over it. So if it's not yours, the creditors can't get to it. So this is why you'll see, and the stars do it all the time, you'll see, rich people, famous people with a lot of wealth, it'll be a trust set up and they don't necessarily own it. They'll say they don't own it. It's theirs. They live in the house, they drive the car, they do all that kind of stuff. But the trustee pays that bill, or the trustee owns the house for their benefit. But the person can't say, sell this house, I need some money. Or I don't want this car anymore, go sell it. The trustee has sole discretion over what happens with the assets. But because you technically don't own anything based on that trust, you don't have control over anything, the creditors can't get to it.
Okay.
So if you appoint a trustee like that, that is definitely got to be somebody you trust. Because once you do that, you don't have control over your asset anymore. That trustee does. Yeah. So it definitely needs to be someone that you trust.
Super duper duper trust.
Yes.
Now that's deep right there.
The main way to protect the asset from a creditor is that you don't have control over it. Not that you don't own it, you don't have control over it. Okay, go ahead.
So in the legal practice in detail, do state laws differ significantly when it comes to estate planning, or are they kind of all in the same arena?
I would say when you, this being a lawyer nitpicking a question, when you say differ significantly, I would say Florida and California. I would say, significantly. They're kind of always on the fringe because of the populations they have. And you can imagine Florida, because their population of old people to young people is probably, the ratio is probably through the roof, right?
Yes.
The old. So they gotta, their laws have to, address that. And that's, okay. And this is one reason, side note, why OJ was in Florida, because in Florida, you can't take someone's house in Florida. So OJ Simpson, all right, everybody gonna differ as to whether or not he killed his wife, but let's just say, okay, we got to say he didn't because he was acquitted. Okay, but he got this big civil judgment against him, right?
Yeah.
And so, but in Florida, you can't take someone's house. In Florida, creditors can't take their house, and then the trust laws are just very open. They're really beneficial, and so that is significantly different. A lot of the other states, the concepts are going to be the same, because in this country, in every state except Louisiana, it goes by common law, and the foundation of what the laws are made off of are very similar. And then just on the fringes, there's going to be a few differences. So there are differences. There are differences that are worth noting and knowing. The attorney that prepares your document in your state will know that. But and so, yes, there are differences, but when you talk about significant differences, that's your whole California and Florida.
Okay, so like with Florida, and I'm sure VP is probably going to have some questions because he lives in Florida and he has property. But so basically, even if someone were to place a mechanical lien or something like that on your house, they couldn't do that in Florida.
They can still place a lien. They have to do it correctly. That's the thing you want to be careful about. It does make it harder to get at the house, because you have to place the lien and the house is inside the trust. But valid liens will still have an impact on the house. It just may make it a little harder to get at them.
Okay.
But also, too, the trustee can have more of an opportunity to resolve those things. So, yes, you always want to be careful of a lien on property.
Okay.
And you can still put your house, like here in Texas, we put our house inside the trust, and you can still get a homestead exemption. You just have to word the trust correctly to get the homestead exemption.
Okay.
So you can still get that if someone was worried about that. Yes.
Okay. So I'm taking this off of the will side, because
Mm-hmm.
all of my little questions that I had, honey, you have covered them. Okay. But on the will side, can a will be contested, and if so, under what circumstances?
Oh God, yes, a will can be contested in almost under any circumstance. They could say the person who drafted almost any circumstance. The person who drafted it was incompetent. They were under undue influence. The person who gave away the property didn't have the authority to give it away. And sometimes when they contest that will and they go to court, the whole thing could end up being reformed based on testimony and all this other kind of stuff. So the other thing, real quick to point out, if you don't have a will or a trust and say, this is who I want my stuff to go to, the law is going to determine who your heirs are. So what happens is, if you pass without a will, there's going to be a petition for probate is going to be filed. Then you have to file notice in the paper for 3 consecutive weeks. Hey, this person has died. If you have an interest, come forward. If you have an interest, come forward. If you have an interest, come forward on this particular day. And then at that day, people are going to come forward and they're going to say, I'm the daughter, I'm a son, I'm this, that, or the other. Now, this is not so much a problem for women as it is for men, because I have seen babies show up and people show up. And we've had to do DNA tests. Like when I've done wrongful death cases in the past, and we get money for the person who died, that's, everybody know that's when people come out the woodwork, when it's money, to be here. And so the secret babies come out and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But so what happens is all these people come forward, they tell the court what their interest is in the estate, and then the court will write an order called an heirship determination. They'll say, order a determination of heirship. They're going to say, okay, this person is the heir, this person is a daughter, this person is a son, this person's a niece and nephew. They're going to list everybody that the court determines is an heir, and then the division of property will go from there. So if you don't do it, the law's going to do it for you.
So that and I apologize for that. My husband and his friend was in the kitchen talking loud, so I had to find something to throw back there.
That part.
I was like, "Are you serious?" Right? I mean, I'm looking at you. Said, "Are you serious behind me right now?" So that means that I don't know if you watch All the Queen's Men, but the sister is contesting that wheel with the other sister that then came in and take everything, so she can contest that wheel.
So absolutely, 2 or 3 or more people can come forward and say, I want to be the person over the estate. Appoint me as the personal representative or the administrator. If you don't have a will, it's an administrator if it's a man, it's administratrix if it's a woman. If you have a will, it's an executor if you're a man, executrix if you're a woman. So 2 different people can come in and file to be the personal representative. And then the court would just weigh that and say, okay, it's you or it's you, so there can be a whole battle. And that's what I'm saying, that's early on. So you file a petition for probate and you already got people fighting over who is going to be in control.
Before the person's even in the ground.
Right. And I want to throw this in real quick of what it costs to probate, because we talked about it. Look, hourly, it could be $200 to $500 an hour. 40 hours at $300 an hour is $12,000. I mean, like 40 hours. Imagine your 1 work week at $300 an hour, which is kind of the low end, is $12,000. So not many people can afford the probate process. That's why you do a trust. Nothing goes probate. If you have a will, it has to be probated. You got to file the petition. You got to show up to court and say, Your Honor, look, there's this will. And then everybody gets to look at it and say, that ain't the will. Y'all remember Aretha Franklin? She had the will in the couch. And they pulled it out, and then the other family was like, no, there was one in the safe, and then the other, so you can create that kind of problem. But it's anywhere from $200 to $500 an hour. Some attorneys will charge a flat fee, but some attorneys, especially in California and Florida, because the states are so big, they charge a percentage of the estate is what they charge. They're gonna take a percent of the estate as the fee in order to handle it. You can get around all of that by having a trust.
But
you can't the will for almost any reason. You could say the person wasn't competent when they did it. You could say the signatures are bad. You could say the person didn't own the property, they gave away. You could just say they gave it to the wrong person. I'm supposed to have it. I'm the oldest. You could say that's not even a real child. I want a DNA test. You could say, any and everything you can think of. Once again, it can be said.
Yeah, that's been really, really heavy on my heart. So, of course, we'll be talking, I want to get that prepared. And hi, Poopy. My daughter just came on and said good information. I saw you, girl. But it's so important. And like I say, when I initially talked to you, I said, I don't really have much, and you clarified that and said, it doesn't matter what you have. It's just a matter of avoiding the complications, when it comes to the loved ones that you leave behind, when it comes to your affairs. So then I guess we can say, typically, what are the costs involved in setting up and maintaining a trust?
The cost can vary depending on how complex it is and kind of, how many beneficiaries involved and stuff like that. But basically, the range could be $2,500 to $6,000. And for me, like I said, I build into my price the first 3 years of changes, of phone calls, of taking questions. I just build in like a little price to get you to the part where we say, okay, it's been 3 years. And that may be a 30-minute conversation. It may be an hour long. We may have to meet all the way again and say, hey, look, has anything changed in your life? Mm-hmm. Like for me, I got married last year. So that would be a change, a huge change that, my attorney will want to know about, right? Has someone died that you provided for in your trust? Or has someone been born? Different things like that. We cover that every 3 years. So, but some attorneys they have their fee, and then when you need updates, like if you call and you need an amendment, you need an update, you need something, there's like a per price for each one of those things. I don't like nickel and diamond people. One, because people don't want to be nickel and dime, but the other because I don't want to do a bunch of billing. For me, I know when I do business, I like just give me a price, like package me some services and give me a price.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be. It is a valuable service. It does take a lot to do it, but I'm not trying to break anybody's back. I'm trying to balance the fact that I want people to have these documents with the expertise and time it takes to do it.
Yeah, and and also too because you just care, especially about the entity that you mentioned in the beginning of the podcast. We really care about.
Yes,
you know what I mean, because a lot of people are speaking generational wealth, and you're right. I don't think that they know what it really entails.
Yes.
So that's very important. So
yeah,
we've done
good at the money, but we've done good at getting the money, but now we got to pass it on. Okay.
Absolutely. Because I want to build a compound, honey. I'm trying to get some family members that I know that's responsible, so we can just build a whole big old land and I'll live on it and drive on golf courses to everybody's house. That's what I would love to do. So let the people know where they can find you.
Oh, okay, wonderful. So I have a website that's mylegaletc.com. You go there. You can, if you guys want to schedule something with me based on this show, if you go to like schedule an appointment, the third one down says complimentary 30 minutes. Just go ahead and click on that one, because the other estate planning ones, they have a cost to them. But you guys can click on the complimentary one and it'll set a time where you can, like, we can get on the phone and I can see what you need. So that's mylegaletc.com. And then I have a toll-free number, 844-415-3416. You call that number. You can I'll either answer. Well, someone else will answer, but they'll patch you through to me. And if I'm available, I will answer, and then we can talk, or just leave me a message and I'll get back to you.
All right. So there you have it, guys. This was so amazing. I know it was amazing for y'all. It was definitely amazing for me. Clarified a lot of stuff because, again, like I said before, I'm a research queen. I got in trouble today from my RSM because it was something about probate over this weekend that my husband had sent me a text message about one of the people that live by the property in Waco, and had a question because the house, they're in probate and the house is getting ready to be taken by the bank. And so I told my RSM, I said, I had some questions about it. I said, but it was the weekend. I didn't want to bother you, so I Googled it. He they had thrown everything in the room at me. Like, don't you ever do that. But I'm just, that's just me. I Google everything and I go through different resources just to see if it matches and all this and that. But this was perfect for me because, again, and I just turned 50. So I get nervous. You know what I mean?
So, hey.
It's like, that it's like, we don't know the day or the hour, but we know we closer to the grave than further from it.
Oh, Lord, well, Jesus.
So
at least I'm claiming it. I'm let go for it, and the creek don't rise.
Yeah, I'm claiming it. I want to be 100. Just don't let me drive. Just don't let me drive.
Yeah,
and we'll be good.
Anymore, so you got to make.
I really appreciate your time.
Responsible grown-ups. We got to be responsible adults and make these decisions. And take care.
I know it's hard for a lot of people, but when you think about either if you've been through it and you've experienced it, or you think about, just pretend yourself to be gone. What is my family going through? What did I leave them with? You know what I mean? Like I know a lot of people that are hoarders. Like, I love my daddy, but he won. Don't you leave all that to me to do.
Burn. If they a hoarder, burn it down.
Burn the whole house down. Just throw the whole house away. Because I'm telling you, I told my sister, I'm not doing it. God forbid something happened to daddy. Say, I don't care if it's gold bricks in there. You can have them.
Yes.
I ain't doing it. Yeah, but you have to think about those things, because you will leave one day and leave people behind, and you leave them to your mess. You know what I mean?
Especially if it's children, because they have no say almost. And so leave a plan for your children. At least that,
Yeah.
Okay, real quick. If you don't know where to start, get a healthcare power of attorney first. then get a durable power of attorney, and then, work on the trust. Now try to do that stuff close together. Try to hurry and get you a document that's like a trust or something. But that's kind of the order, because a lot of times people get sick. So, get the healthcare power, get the durable one, and then get a trust or a will, whichever one you can do. You might have to get a will first because it's cheaper, and then build to a trust. But make a trust your ultimate plan so your family don't have to probate.
Correct. Yeah, and like I said, the POAs and all of that, the medical and all of that, I had it drafted for me and my husband, but it's still sitting there because it was like $99 a page or something like that.
Jesus.
It's still sitting there because I can't read it. You understand? I can't. It's like they're drafting it, and I got to pay the $99, but I can't read it to see what it entails.
Yes. Normally, my
I feel like
I draft
it personalized to me.
Yeah, I draft it. We make sure it's right, and then I finalize it for you.
Correct. And so I don't really like that. You know what I mean? Because I don't feel like I'm hands-on with something that, we may need to use one day in the event that something happens to either of us.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, but yes, I appreciate you. I appreciate your time. And for those that this show is on my YouTube page, which is the Say Less Podcast with Miko on YouTube. You can, the link is on my Say Less Facebook page as well. But you can go back if you didn't get a chance to write something down. You can always go back and watch this show. It will always be either on my YouTube page or the Blast Media YouTube page. Anybody that is out there that's wanting to utilize my platform for your business or share information, such as these golden nuggets that we received today, you're more than welcome. My platform is very laid back, non-formal, transparent. It is what it is type of thing. So the world is so full of us. Sometimes you get tired of the formalities and you just want to just
talk,
chill, you know what I mean, and talk and chit chat. So I'm always open to topic suggestions as well. I know I'm a realtor, and sometimes I'll talk about real estate, but life be lifing. So I'll be liking to talk about life. You know what I'm saying? And anybody that know me know they can call me, inbox me about real estate questions. But for the most part, I think that we all just need to jump into this reality pool and try to get life together all as one, help each other. You know what I'm saying? So that was what I wanted today. I think that's what I got. Hope that's what you got. And then Nichon, you can stick around for a minute. We're going to intro out. Okay. And again, thank you guys for joining the Say Less Podcast with Miko. I don't know what the topic's going to be next week, but if you have any suggestions, let me know and we'll talk about it. So until then, you guys have a blessed week. Bye.
Bye.